Now here I have the new DJI Action 2, which is the successor to the very popular Osmo action camera that DJI came out with a couple years ago. And if you guys haven't seen my full review video on this new action camera, make sure you guys check out the links above as well as down below in the video description. Now the Action 2 definitely is a little bit different than the traditional Osmo Action and the GoPros. They changed up the form factor and I talked about that in my previous video. So in this video I want to walk you guys through the basic setup of the new DJI Action 2. And if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Anastasio. I do a lot of drone tech tips, tutorials, and product reviews right here on this channel. So if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing and also hitting that bell to be notified when I post new videos. And before we get into the basic setup of the Action 2, I just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor of this video, Adorama. And if you guys aren't familiar with Adorama, they are one of the most reputable online as well as retail stores that have been around for almost 50 years now. So if you're looking at picking up this right here, the DJI Action 2, or any other camera equipment, electronics, or photography, videography gear, make sure you guys check out those Adorama links down below for some of the best deals online. And now back to the setup guide. And to get this thing all set up, the first thing we're going to want to do is start with a full charge. So we're going to want to charge up the camera itself here, as well as, of course, we have to charge these up, which is the screen, depending on which package you got, or if you got the power combo, you're going to want to charge up this little battery bank right here. The thing is, the camera itself does not have a USB-C port for you to charge directly. So the first thing you do is actually you have to charge up these modules right here. Whether you got the screen or you got the power combo, you're going to need to take out your USB to USB-C plug and plug this into the side right here, and of course power this onto the wall or a power bank. And you're going to want to do that first because you actually have to charge up these modules first in order for you to charge the camera up. So once these modules are charged up, all you have to do is now place this right on top here, and once you hook it up, you'll see that green light here on the back. That lets you know that the module here is actually charging up the main camera. Now the DJI Action 2 does have 32 gigs internal memory on the camera itself right here. Of course, you're not going to get full 32 gigs because the software does take up some of that memory. So if you do want to expand out your memory, you're going to need to add an SD card on the actual LED module here or on the back of the power combo. So there's a little area here on the very bottom that you can slide in something like this, is SD card. And I'll make sure the SD card that I'm using will be linked down below in the video description. So if you do want to expand out and not just be limited to your 22, 23 gigs, you can get up to a 256 gig card. Place that right here on the very bottom. And then now you are expanding out your storage of this camera. All right, so now that we're all charged up, the next thing you want to do is download the most recent DJI Mimo app. And the Mimo app will allow you to actually see a live view of the camera and also give you the ability to control the camera through your phone if you wanted to do it that way. But more importantly, the app will allow you to get all of the latest firmware updates for the Action 2. Next thing we'll do is power on the Action 2 by pressing this top button right there. And once you do that, you'll be brought to a language screen. You're just gonna have to press your language of choice. And now that the camera is on, we have that live view as you can see right here. The next thing you want to do is launch the DJI Mimo app. And with the camera on and your Mimo app on, you should now at the very top see a little drop down that says DJI device found. Just go ahead and hit connect right there. And now it's going to be searching for this device right here, and it does show up. It also asks you, do you want to join the Wi-Fi network? That's the Wi-Fi network that this thing is pushing out. You're going to hit join, and there you go. We are now connected. We have a live view of the Action 2 on your DJI Mimo app. And the important thing here is on that top left, you see that little yellow bar. It does say that there is a new firmware available. You're going to always want to update your Action 2 when you first get it to the latest firmware. So let's click on that little bar right there, and it'll now say firmware update, and it'll go through the process of downloading as well as updating your Action 2 with the latest firmware. And the update has been successful. The next thing you want to do is, normally what I like to do is shut everything down, power down and power on the Action 2. Do the same thing on the DJI Mimo app. Close down the app and then reopen it. And now that our firmware is all updated, we are in live view right now. Let's just quickly go through all of the menus that are in the Action 2. Starting on the top left corner right here, we have how much remaining space on that memory card, or if you're switching to internal, it'll let you know how much space is remaining there. Top right is your battery indicator. This right here lets you know that you can change your exposure by swiping from right to left. Bottom right is the digital zoom. Right now we are not zoomed in, so we're just at 1x. Right here on the bottom left is what your video resolution is and if your stabilization is on or off. And on the left hand side here, we do have the preview. Now when you swipe from top to bottom, you can bring up the main settings menu. On the top left, you're able to click on that and now it'll say full screen is on, which means your preview on your screen will show the entire screen. If you want, I normally like it to be widescreen, and that switches it back to widescreen. We have a lock function here, which means it'll lock the screen. So if you're doing anything for a long exposure or anything on those where you don't want the screen to be touched, you can actually lock the screen. On the bottom left is your memory card. So if you click on that, you can actually see right now I'm recording to the SD card. I have 89 gigs remaining. If I swipe this over, I have internal. You can actually record to internal. Right now my internal is full. So if I wanted to format my internal, all I do is click on the internal one. It'll say, do you want to switch to internal? Hit confirm. Now I can hit format. And what that's going to do is it's going to format now the internal memory that's on this camera right here. And there you go. So now it's formatted. I have 22.4 gigs. Now I'm going to switch this back to SD card. I am not going to format this one because I do have some info on there, and the SD card is at the very bottom of this battery bank right here. Next is we have the settings icon. If I click on that one, we have a little bit more information down here. Voice control, so I can actually turn voice control on or off. If I click it on, click it to on, now I have it set at English. Now my voice control is on. Now if I wanted to test it out, all I have to say is start recording. And as you can see there, it's starting to record. Stop recording. And there you go. Next we have a vibration notification. I actually really like this. It's kind of like that haptic feeling when you touch the screen. I normally have that on. We have wireless connection. So if you do want to hook it up to your Mimo app or other devices wirelessly, you're able to do that there. Video compression, you're able to change this. So you can actually change it to HEVC or H.264. Sounds on or off. I normally keep my sounds off. It'll give you a sound when you press and record the button. Grids, this is really good if you're doing anything like landscape and you want to have grids on or off. We have the ability to switch anti-flicker from auto to 50 or 60 hertz. Next we have auto stop record temperature. Right now I have it set to high. That means the threshold will be a lot higher because if it's on standard and it gets really hot, it'll then auto stop. I have my threshold set to high. Next we have screen on or off when locked. You could turn that on or off right there. A lot of people are asking me too if I can turn the screens off when it's recording. So sometimes you just want to set it up. You don't need to monitor the screens. You can actually switch that on or off right there. Auto power off. I actually like mine set to 30 seconds. What's cool about this is that when you have it set to 30 seconds and you're recording something and when you're done, you don't necessarily just power it off. I normally just throw it in my pocket and then it'll automatically turn off in 30 seconds. If you want to turn off your LEDs while you're recording, you can turn that on or off right there. Next is continued live stream. I haven't live streamed off of this thing yet, so there's nothing in this one. Just lets me know I can go back. I can change my language. I can factory reset the actual Action 2, get the device information about it, and then some compliance info at the very bottom. Coming back out of the settings icon, if I swipe over, I'm able to switch this pro mode on or off. I normally just keep it on because if it's off right now, there's not much info on the screen except for the ability to change your field of view. So I will normally always just keep pro mode on. That way you're able to have a lot more settings on screen here, and we'll go through that in a second. This is the voice control, which we did earlier. Here, if you want to lock your rotation of your screen, so depending on which orientation you want, you can actually lock it. And of course, the sun right here, we have change your brightness of your screen. Back out to the main screen, if you click on the top right, you can see what your battery level is. Right now, the camera itself is 100%, and the battery combo, the battery bank right here is at 80%. If you swipe from right to left, it opens up all of your exposure values. So I can see my auto exposure is set to auto exposure right now. White balance is set to auto. Color, which is cool, is that I can go from normal to de-cine-like. So if you want us to do a little bit more post-processing, switch it over to de-cine. And this is the big one here, the field of view. Right now we have it set to de-warp, which is pretty much like the linear mode, but you can switch that here. Depending on what settings you are, you can go into wide or ultra wide. So this is where you would be setting all of those different field of views. On the top right, we do have the microphone. So click on that, you can change it from stereo to mono. We also have noise reduction on or off. And then audio, you can actually switch it, which mics you want to use. Do you want to use all the mics? Do you want to use the front ones, front and back to all? On the bottom right, we do have the digital zoom. So if you click on this, it'll bring up a little scroll wheel And right now it's no zoom on, so if I'm at 1 times, I can actually go all the way up to 4 times digital zoom and back out. If I swipe from bottom to top, now I can change all of my resolutions. I can also change my stabilization. Right now I'm at 4K at 30, and as you can see here, I don't have the option to do horizon steady. I only have the ability to use rock steady on or off. Now if I switch this over to 2.7, up to 30, I actually go up to 60 frames. Now you can see horizon steady is available for me, and that is that horizon steady where if you move your camera in 360 mode, it will still maintain the horizon. You can only do that up to 2.7 at 60 frames a second. Now if you swipe from left to right, this is your basic preview, so whatever's on your card, you're not able to preview it here, and you can also click very top and then see a list of all of your videos on your camera or on your SD card. Now, if you wanted to switch from photo to video really quickly, you can actually double tap this top button here. If I double click it, you can now swipe through and go through all of the different options here. Another way you can do it is just to simply swipe on the screen. So if I just swipe left to right, I can actually do it this way as well. So I can go in here, and if you want to do quick clip, one thing with quick clip is kind of cool. So if you want to just capture certain seconds, like 15 or 30 seconds at a time, you're able to do a quick clip. Just click on that, and now you can set which you want to do. Let's move over to photo mode. So in photo mode, you do have those options down below. Same thing, 16:9, 4:3. And you also have a countdown if you wanted to do a countdown for time. And then you also have all the same options all the way around. And with photo mode, you do have the option to shoot JPEG and RAW. You can switch that right here and also change the field of view. Hit confirm, and there it is. Next, we jump into slow motion. Slow motion, same thing. We have the option to change a couple of slow motions here. We have 1080p at 4 times, or you can actually do 8 times at 1080p. 2.7 and 4K, you can only do 4 times. So that is the slow-mo option. And the last one we'll jump over to is the time lapse. And this is where you actually have time lapse here, but if you wanted to do something like hyper lapse, you're able to do that. Just swipe up and you can actually change your time lapse over to hyperlapse, and you also have some different options here. Auto, you can change the speed of it. And there it is, guys. Just want to give you a quick basic setup walkthrough of the new DJI Action 2. Definitely a unique style camera. So if you do want more information about the Action 2, make sure you guys check out my playlist above as well as down below in the video description. As always, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. And also don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when I post new videos. If you guys want more Action 2 content, make sure you guys check out that playlist above as well as down below in the video description. This is Ultra Nastasio with FlytPath.com. I'll see you guys next video. Take care.